Come, sit down. Let me tell you a story. This happened a long, long time ago in the days when Jesus walked the earth. Every morning in that ancient land of Judea, the sun would rise over Jerusalem, painting the white stone walls with gold. The marketplace would wake up slowly, merchants opening their stalls, spreading out their goods. You'd hear the quiet sounds of families starting their day. Everything moved peacefully back then, nothing rushed. This is the story of the Good Samaritan. To understand it properly, I need to tell you how it started. One day Jesus was sitting near the great temple teaching, and someone asked him a question. People came from everywhere to hear him, you know. They'd walk for miles along those dusty paths, through the olive groves, just to sit at his feet and listen. Everyone was searching for wisdom in those days. So there he sat under this enormous olive tree with people all around him, and when he spoke, his words were so simple. That's what I always loved about Jesus. He never made things complicated, but somehow those simple words would just pierce right through to your soul. In the crowd that day was a lawyer. Now, when I say lawyer, I don't mean like we have today. This was a religious scholar, someone who'd spent his entire life studying the scriptures, memorizing them word for word. Well, this scholar, he stood up, worked his way through the people. He had something he wanted to ask. "Teacher," he called out, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus smiled. He had this way of teaching, see? He'd turn your own question back on you, make you think it through yourself. "Well," he said, "what do the scriptures say? You've read them. How do you understand them?" The scholar didn't hesitate. He knew this answer like he knew his own name. "You shall love the Lord your God," he recited, "with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." Jesus nodded. "Perfect," he said. "You've got it exactly right. Do that and you'll have life." But the scholar wasn't satisfied. Maybe he felt a little defensive, or maybe he genuinely wanted to know. Either way, he asked another question. "But who?" he said. "Exactly who is my neighbor?" But Jesus looked around at all those faces, all those people waiting to hear what he'd say. And instead of giving them a straight answer, he did what he always did. He told them a story. "There was a man," Jesus began, "traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho. Now I need to tell you about this road because it matters. It was treacherous, 17 miles of steep, winding path dropping down through nothing but rocks and wilderness. Robbers loved that road, plenty of places to hide. So here's this traveler walking along minding his own business. Got a small bundle with him, probably heading home or maybe to visit family. Just an ordinary man on an ordinary day with no idea what's about to happen. Hidden up in those rocks, there were men waiting, robbers. They jumped him. They took everything he had, ripped the clothes right off him, beat him within an inch of his life, and then just left him lying there on the side of the road, half dead. Didn't even look back as they ran off into the wilderness. Just imagine it. lying there broken on that hot, dusty road, looking up at the sky, every breath agony, hoping and praying that someone, anyone, would come along and help you. Well, as it turned out, a priest happened to be traveling down that same road. A priest, of all people, right? A man of God, someone who spent his life teaching about compassion and mercy. If anyone would stop, you'd think it would be him. He saw the man lying there, crossed over to the other side of the road, kept right on walking. Just walked away, left him there. The sun kept moving across the sky. After a while, another man came down the road, a Levite this time, another temple worker, another religious man. Maybe the injured man must have thought, maybe this one will help. This one actually stopped, looked at him, saw everything, the blood, the wounds, the desperate eyes pleading for help. But he wouldn't come close, just stood there at a safe distance, looking. Then he too crossed to the other side, walked on by. Twice. The man had been passed by twice, left to die twice. And with every minute with the sun sinking lower, his hope was dying too. But then, when everything seemed lost, the man heard something. Hoofbeats. Someone else coming down the road. A Samaritan. That's who it was. Now here's the thing you have to understand. Jews and Samaritans despised each other. This wasn't just dislike. This was deep, bitter hatred going back generations. They wouldn't even speak to each other. But when this Samaritan saw that man lying there, bleeding, dying, something just broke open in his chest. You could see it in his eyes. He jumped off that donkey and ran, didn't think twice, just ran to help. The way he touched him, so gently. His hands were rough from years of work, but they moved so carefully over those wounds, checking, assessing. You could feel the compassion just radiating from him. He pulled out his own oil and wine. Now these weren't cheap, mind you. This was what he'd brought for his own journey. But without hesitating, he poured them over the wounds. Oil to soothe them, wine to clean them. Just gave it all away. Then he took out clean linen strips and bandaged every wound, one by one, so carefully. Then, and this is the part that gets me, he lifted that man up, supported his whole weight, and gently, so gently, he put him on his own donkey, which meant he'd have to walk the rest of the way himself. Off they went together, the Samaritan walking alongside his donkey, one hand on the rope, the other steadying the injured man, making sure he didn't fall, guiding them both toward help. The sun was setting when they reached an inn. You could see the warm lamplight glowing in the windows. Such a welcome sight. The Samaritan helped the man down, supporting him every step, and brought him inside to safety. All night long, that Samaritan sat right there beside the bed, wiping the man's forehead with cool water, checking his bandages, making sure he was comfortable. Never slept a wink, just stayed there, keeping watch. Come morning, you could see the man was going to make it. Color back in his face, breathing easier. He was healing. The Samaritan called over the innkeeper, reached into his purse, pulled out 2 silver coins, 2 denarii. That's 2 full days' wages for a working man back then. Look, he told the innkeeper, take care of him for me, and whatever else it costs, whatever you have to spend, I'll pay you back when I come through again. Just like that, a promise between good men sealed with a handshake. Jesus finished his story and looked at that scholar. Everyone was quiet, waiting. So tell me, Jesus said, which of those 3 men acted like a neighbor to the man who was attacked? The scholar couldn't even say the word Samaritan. His pride wouldn't let him. All he could manage was the one who showed mercy. Jesus looked at him, looked at all of them, and very simply, very clearly, he said, then go and do the same. This story teaches us something powerful. Being a good neighbor is not about who you know. It is not about your tribe, your church, or your background. It is about love in action. Sometimes we are the wounded man, hurt, broken, and in need of help. Sometimes we are the ones who walk past, too busy, too distracted, too comfortable, and sometimes God calls us to be the Samaritan, to stop, to care, to help, and to love. Because real faith is not just what we say, it is what we do. So today, ask yourself, who needs my kindness? Who needs my compassion? Who can I be a neighbor to? Don't be like the priest who feels he is holy, or like the Levite who saw it all and crossed the road. Be as the Samaritan, and just as Jesus said, go and do likewise.